And welcome once again to the Movie Stuff Show. My name is Dan, and joining me this week, Marty.
Welcome back from your TV job.
Thank you. Since we're discussing Get Out this week, I randomly chose two other people to join us, Talia and Jamill.
Hi.
Completely at random.
Sure.
Yeah.
No other reason.
Hey
why.
guys, I'm happy here to fill your black quota for this week. I'm happy to be here.
Two. Come on now.
Hey.
It's a record.
Yeah, usually
record for the Movie and Stuff Show.
We did it. Yeah, we've crossed barriers that we've never crossed before. We still have yet to have two women on the show at the same time. So,
We did. Oh, that's what Abe did.
Abe did in the Lost episode from a couple weeks ago, a month ago maybe. He had.
I don't recall.
Yeah, Talia and Leah were on the show.
I don't recall that.
Yeah.
Wow. Where was I?
You were off.
Was I in Amsterdam? Was that the...
Yeah,
Yeah.
Getting high.
That explains it. There you go.
congratulations, Abe is now more progressive than you.
He would hate that. He would.
I
Yeah,
know.
Abe might kill himself if he heard that. You just might have.
Careful.
Abe might have just driven to Canada right now, and
Just
escape that. All right, so we got a lot to talk about this week. We're gonna kind of talk about Get Out. We didn't talk about it when it came out in theaters, and now that the Oscars are approaching, I feel it's a good time to kind of look back at some of the movies that we didn't get a chance to talk about that are Oscar nominations. So that's Get Out. And then as a primer for next week, well, I guess this week, next week's episode is about Black Panther. Black Panther comes out this week, so we'll talk about some black superheroes, right, Marty? That's what you had. Yep. And I'll just briefly get into it. Yeah, so last week we weren't on the air. For those of you who checked it out, I was a human canvas on Ink Master. So that's what my Tuesday night last week was about. I have a permanent tattoo. It doesn't rub off. Can't get rid of this. It's permanent. Fortunately, it was one of the better ones on the episode.
Yeah.
So didn't get a lot of. It's interesting.
Your person didn't lose.
Yeah, the person didn't lose. It was interesting to see some of the comments online. It's a mixed bag. You get some people saying, "Oh, that's great," and other people are like, "The fuck was that?" So it's nice to see the aftermath of that. But yeah, it definitely wasn't one of the worst ones. It was, overall well received. It's just a fun experience, right? I would totally recommend it to people. It's just it's a cool experience. You go there, you're there for the day, and you get to kind of mingle with the other contestants, the other canvases, if you will. And my episode, the last week episode, had some drama. It was fun to see that unfold. I was like, the guy stormed off during the episode and wouldn't get tattooed, and I was standing like right there, like I was right next to him as he was. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So I can tell you that well, maybe I can't tell you. Well, no, I'll tell you. It was real. Like it wasn't like it was planned. They didn't tell him beforehand. It's like, oh, you got to storm off.
It seemed like he was kind of wanting to make this, make a scene though.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they told him, but he seemed like one of those guys like, oh, I'm gonna have my moment on TV here and be the dickhead who storms off.
Yeah.
And it got him on TV because I guess you were too normal and they didn't show you at all.
Yeah, they showed me for like 2 minutes. Right. Like, not even. It was very just in the background. I was the guy that was just like, all right, I'm gonna sit here for 6 hours and get a tattoo and not bitch about anything.
Yeah, you gotta make a nuisance of yourself.
So Marty, I'm gonna nominate you to be on Ink Master next, and then you.
I
can be
would,
the guy.
you gotta get either, you get it on your ass. That'll get you some excitement. You get it, you get something crazy. You got, it's a lovely bird you got, but it's not gonna, didn't bring about much discussion from the other judges, I would say.
Yeah. So that was just a fun experience. So all right. So there's that. Let's get into it. Let's Get Out, right? Marty, what's Get Out? What is this movie?
No. Well, thank you for coming to me. Nominated Jordan Peele's movie, of course, from last. Was it February? Came out last year.
It was like early last year, about a year ago.
Nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, and I think one of the screenplays. If I'm not mistaken.
Probably. Yeah.
And I made the mistake, I guess we both did, of not seeing it in the theaters when it came out. So when I saw it, I kind of knew something was a twist. This was that movie everyone was talking about when it came out. It's like, oh, you got to go see it because it's a spoiler, and it was pretty good for a while that people didn't spoil what was going on. But by the time I saw it on HBO, I kind of knew the ending. So when you know the ending of this movie, it kind of takes something away from it. So if you guys saw it first in the theaters, I'd like to kind of get your initial thoughts when you saw it.
I saw it when I was living in Toronto. I saw it at the theaters, and my expectations were low because after seeing the trailer for Keanu, I thought they're just. I never heard of them before. Keenan and who's the other one?
Peele.
Peele, yeah. I never heard of them before, so I was like, okay, there's like, they do sketch comedy and all that. And then, I saw the trailer for Keanu. I was like, oh, that's funny. That's just, a funny ha-ha popcorn movie. And then here comes Get Out. I'm like, is this the same thing? Is this another comedy? So I was like, okay, look, I'll just go see it. And I was like, whoa. Like, so when your expectation is low, just expect to be a bit shocked. And I was shocked. I was like, wow, he just made a political statement or a social statement. I was like, this is interesting, very intelligent, I have to say. I mean, I could say it probably is a dark comedy, but also maybe a slightly horror film. But I really think it was very, on his part, like he was trying to say something with this. Yeah, but not in a preachy way or a, angry black man way. It was just like, oh, okay. I understood what was going on. I was like, this is interesting. Some people just thought, oh, that's just like, a comedy. I was like, not really. Not with what's going on, especially in this country. I was like, this is really, really intelligent. I really liked it.
Jamill, did you see it in theaters or?
Yes, I did. I just watched it again a couple of hours ago. I remember watching it. The movie, I thought, really thinking it's not scary. I think the best thing about it is the bad people are white liberals, which to me are like the enemy. So are like the insidious enemy. So this movie, all these white liberals love, don't really understand that it's about them. Like, but like I said, I don't think the movie is really that scary. It is good. It's actually a really well made movie. I understand why I got nominated for an Oscar because funny thing is, since I live where I live and I live in Atlanta, which is probably the blackest place on the fucking planet, besides Africa. Okay. I don't know a lot of black people who like this movie. Well,
really?
Yeah. But I live in the hood, so that's kind of understandable in a weird way. But yeah, but I really was taken back by this movie. The symbolism, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I just saw it recently. I knew the ending. The ending was spoiled for me, so I knew about it. I don't feel like that took anything away from me. Like knowing what it was like, because I didn't know the full ending, right? Like I knew the twist, if you will, but I didn't know the full ending. I didn't know. I mean, you start thinking it's like, is this going to end kind of the Night of the Living Dead way? Where it's just like the cops show up and just shoot the guy, and you start to, it's like, how is this going to end? And when you see the ending, it's like, okay, that was actually kind of a happy ending to a degree. Like it was the trajectory of the ending was looking really bleak and really depressing for a while. When there he is, he's got the gun towards the girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend or whatever, and the cop car shows up, and you're like, oh fuck,
Well, did you see the alternative ending?
No.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, the alternative ending is what you expect to happen, where the cops come and arrest him, and he goes to jail. And the friend is like,
well, no, that's not what I expected. I mean, the cops show up and a black guy's got a gun on a girl.
Okay.
Yeah. Like he's not getting arrested. That's not going to happen. Come on.
And he's covered in blood. He's over a white woman. He's going to die.
Yeah,
I don't care if his hands up or not. He's going to. Then he did it slowly. Like, ain't no way in the hell. No.
See, I think that would be more of a fairy tale ending if he gets arrested, right? I mean, his black friend showing up to save him is less of a fairy tale ending than him getting arrested, right? But yeah, no, I still thought it was impactful. I thought knowing what was going on, this kind of invasion of the body snatchers type scenario, much of a callback to 50s horror, right? Which is ironic, because if you think of some, a lot of the social unrest that was happening in the 50s and what was going on, it's like, oh, well, talking about a throwback to 50s sci-fi by talking about the social unrest that's going on 60 years later. It's kind of ironic.
It was funny, kind of like I said, having known the ending like you did. It makes some of the things a little more obvious when they're talking about it. Like, when he's talking about his grandfather who ran against Jesse Owens, and then we see him running like a deer later in the movie.
Yeah.
And so and knowing that, like I said, knowing the ending, it kind of makes it obvious that, all right, there's something wrong here, right? When we get to, Allison Williams plays Daniel Kaluuya, I think is how we pronounce his name. All right. Daniel Kaluuya, they're going together, and she brings him out to her house for the first time, and you meet the parents, and like right away is something off, right? The parents are a little too kind of just uncomfortable with everything. We meet the groundskeeper who's just kind of staring in the distance to me and everything. So the only real twist, I guess, for me was whether or not the girlfriend was in on it the whole time. So that's why I thought her performance was really good, Allison Williams from Girls. And so when we find out at the end that's like the big reveal, really, it's knowing that we knew something. Like I said, we knew something was going on with these people from the get. So when we see that she's also in on it, so that was kind of like the big okay moment for me.
Yeah, and then everything starts to add up, right?
Yeah,
When you see, it's like, oh, I didn't realize we were having all these people over for this party. I totally forgot about that. It's like, and you get the kind of a little bit too on the nose where he discovers like the closet filled with pictures of her old boyfriends. It's just like,
that was kind of a dumb, like that scene. That scene was too easy. It was too easy for me, because here they are. They're he's kind of figured out. He didn't know what was going on, but he knew something horrible was happening. So he's like, all right, we got to get the hell out of here. But he kind of stops in all this because there's a door in his peripheral that's open. So thinking he has to run for his life, he stops for 5 minutes to go look through some pictures. I was like, oh, okay, that was a little too easy a plot device for this movie.
Yeah.
I like to call this microaggression a movie because it's just several microaggressions over and over. Just like, and I don't even like that word, but like that was a lot. I guess it's heightened for a movie. But also what I find funny as someone with white friends is your white friends are like how she was she's more offended than he is about a lot of the stuff. He's just kind of rolling with it, and she's the one like, how dare they? He's just like, it's fine. It's okay. It's really, it's not that bad. At least they're not calling me nigga.
I thought they were for a minute. I thought they were going to drop it at one point, especially with the father. Like when they first meet the father, it's like, how long has this thing been going on? I'm like, oh my God, it's this cringeworthy. I was like, oh God, no. But I was like, okay. But yeah, I was like, she was offended by the way her parents were acting and everyone was acting. And he was just like, because I mean, even when like the other day, I'll just give you a short story. Like the other day at my day job, which I will not give the name of, I had this Asian woman said, you know what? I had one of yous, Black people, say that I have a sister's booty. And I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, whatever. Okay, let me just finish ringing you up and then be done with it. All right. I was like, I can't. Because at this point in my life, I'm like, nothing offends me, really. I've seen it. I've heard it all.
You see, my point of view is if it's not just from personal experience, if it's not meant with malice, I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I get it. Because look, I'll say off-color shit all the time. I grew up on Richard Pryor. I would talk about your race. I don't care in front of your face. I don't care. But I don't mean it with malice as long as you don't mean it, like you said, like I got a sister's booty. Oh, okay, yeah, that's nice. Like, it's okay, like whatever, like it's just and like that, and that's what he was going with. And it was weird. It was like she was trying to get him upset, and he just wasn't upset. The whole scene with the cop, like, why does he have to see his ID? And he's like, it's fine, baby. Like, no, why does he have to see? Number one, Black people can't talk to the cops like that. So that's one thing. As soon as you start telling the cop, you know your rights. Oh boy.
Just don't say anything. Just say yes, sir, yes, officer, okay, officer, bye, officer, and that's it.
But I'd seen interviews afterwards where he said that was because you know, they didn't want a paper trail for who he was with or where he was going. So that was kind of the explanation for that scene. But again, like I said, it's, you know, she gets to be indignant where he can't. You know, kind of.
That makes sense though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a little weird though, like all these people go missing, that she had, you know, people had to know that she was with these other guys.
Right.
Like, you know, his friend knew. So no, you know, these 10 other guys, no one ever knew that they went out with her, and they all went missing, and there's really no. This is where I'm gonna get checked. I guess.
No, you're right. I know the difference is he had a nigga as a friend. See, the other black dudes probably didn't have no thugged out friends. He had a gangster ass friend, and that's the difference. He had a black friend from the hood to tell him, "Hey, these are horror tropes. You need to watch out for, brother." And he like, "No, I'm not gonna listen out for it." You see, them other people didn't have that, and that's how they went missing. Nobody cared.
Hey man, you don't fuck with the TSA either, man. I mean, come on.
You do not
fuck with the TSA.
He had a common sense friend. That's all I like to say. He had a common sense friend. Like, look, you're gonna hear all these white people in the middle of nowhere. Be careful. They're gonna make you a sex slave. That was the one thing he was wrong about. He was really harping on that sex slave.
But it was true in some instances where I guess the other guy and his older wife who were like, "Oh, we haven't left the house in 3 months or something." I mean, I assume that's what's happening there.
Yeah. You know, it's funny too. I really like the performance of the artist guy, the curator, the guy that owns the photography museum. He's the dude from Office Space, the red stapler guy.
Yeah. Yep. Stephen Root.
Yeah, really good performance. I really.
Oh, yeah, he's always good.
That was like the scene where he's talking to him about. It's like, you know, I saw your work, and you know, but I do have, and my wife pointed this out. It's a blind auction. How the hell did he like they're holding up the things? How did he see what was going on?
Did he have a handler with him? I thought he had a handler. I
don't know. Like, it was literally a blind auction, and here's a blind guy in it.
What do we think the cost was for that either? Because he puts up just, you know, 1 finger, 2 finger, then the final is 10. Are we saying 10 million? Do you think that's how much they're paying for these kind of things?
It's, you know, it would have to be a pricey amount. It seems like the type of surgery. It's not like man with 2 brain surgery here. It seemed pretty complicated of what this guy was doing.
Like I said, I only saw it on HBO, so maybe it was a weird HBO copy. But did you notice when they're doing the surgery on him at the end, they cut off his scalp twice?
I didn't notice that.
There were 2 scenes where he throws the scalp in the garbage like twice. It seems.
Twice.
So
yeah, it did seem like that. I thought I was tripping. I seen that too. I noticed that too.
Okay, so that's a second-time director, I guess, bad at it, but he was. I mean, Bradley Whitford is, when he's not on The West Wing, he kind of plays these creepy roles. So I thought he fit well in this.
What did I just see him in? He played.
He was just in The Post, and he was kind of the swarmy.
He's in The Post.
Yeah, just kind of.
He plays Jake Peralta's dad on Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so no problem. Yeah.
And then Catherine Keener.
Trust me, for you people that don't watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Catherine Keener's great. Yeah.
And she plays those kind of weird characters too, so it wasn't a stretch for her in this one either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite role of hers probably being John Malkovich.
Mine too.
Fantastic.
Mine too.
Fantastic. She's great in that. You know, yeah. Funny enough, 40-year-old virgin. She was. Good,
yeah, she was good.
But no, being John Malkovich, in many ways, has some parallels to this movie.
Yeah, right down to a small cupboard that you crawl
to.
Small
cupboard that you crawl into. Yeah.
Now we talked about the friend Rod, and it's fun. He was really funny, and he's probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. But do you think you could have cut him out of this whole thing and had a more serious tone and just?
I don't think it
almost
works.
More straight horror.
I don't think it works. No.
I don't think it works. Like he's so integral. Like he's there for a reason. He's speaking for the audience. You know what I'm saying? And he's speaking specifically to the black audience who yells at the TV screen or who yells at the movie screen. He's specifically there for the. He's that person. And don't act like y'all don't know what I'm talking
Oh no,
about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is why this is why I go to cinemas that serve alcohol. I'm like, I want to hear the film. I don't want to have people talking through it. I'm like, I go to specific time, specific place, you know.
I don't know. Sometimes when you're sitting through a Marvel film, that's some of the only things that can get you through it.
I'm gonna see
one
Black
dude in the
Panther
audience that's yelling. It's like, oh shit. You know, like,
that would probably be the second Marvel film I'll see, because the first one I saw in the cinemas was Iron Man. Black Panther would probably be number 2. Yeah.
Wow, you took a big break.
Yeah, because it's fatigue. It's too much. I can't.
Look,
I can't.
Hey, look, I'll be with you. Look, as a person that love these movies, look, 3 less superhero movies a year would be great. Just 3 less. I don't care what 3. Just Jesus Christ. That's all I watch now.
We're getting 3 in 3 months, so.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And then we get an Ant-Man movie later on, which is gonna which is gonna be so much high stakes after Infinity War. It's like oh great, everyone's dead. Here's an Ant-Man movie for you. Enjoy.
It'll be fine. Go watch the Ant guy.
No. I'll step on him.
So, what are the odds of this winning any Oscars? Do we think? I mean,
it might win a Best Original Screenplay. It might.
He might get that. Yeah.
Screenplay.
Yeah.
But that's going against. It's going against Billboards. So if Billboards
is
sweeps
it?
everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're gonna have to give a black person. They want to give at least one woman and one black person a major award.
Yeah.
Because Hollywood is opportunistic like that, so I really believe that that's what's going to happen.
So,
you think Daniel Kaluuya is good in this? He's not Best Actor good in this. I don't think he was. I don't think his performance was Oscar worthy. Really, I think he's only really nominated because they didn't want James Franco anywhere near his award show.
Which is a shame because that's a great performance. That's a damn shame.
Jordan Peele in his first kind of, foray into this kind of movie making, I can't see him winning over.
Like, I mean, it's probably it's probably Guillermo del Toro's award this year, right?
Yeah, so
it should be.
It's probably going to be his award for Best Director.
And again, Best Picture
probably going to be 3 Billboards.
Yeah, it's only nominated really because they stretched it to 9 this year. I mean,
you don't think it's going to be Lady Bird? I'm really thinking Lady Bird. They have so much momentum behind it right now.
I saw that a couple weeks ago. I really liked it. So it's between that one, Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards right now for me. But I mean, it's great this movie is nominated, but it did win some of the. It didn't win any Golden Globes either. But.
This was like a blockbuster though, right? It made a lot of money, right?
Huge
it made a huge amount of money. So when we talk about expanding to 9, it really is to open up for some of the more which is funny because this isn't the typical blockbuster, right? I mean, this isn't you pump a lot of money in and expect it to make a lot of money, but
essentially a first-time director in a February release, kind of in the horror genre, whatever you want to classify it as. I mean, I think it's probably the most profitable movie of last year, I would imagine.
Because in general, horror tends to be more profitable too, but
this movie didn't look cheap by any means.
No.
And like I said, for a first time, like he did, like you said, he made Keanu, which is more of a spoof film. Mm-hmm. But for this one made $176 million.
Wow.
Off a $4.5 million budget.
4.5.
So yeah.
I was hoping that Aaron Rodgers was going to be one of the white people that's bidding. So some Aaron. Yeah. I'm a fan. Listen, I was a fan of their sketch comedy show, but it was so hit or miss. Like you'd watch a sketch and you'd be rolling on the floor laughing, and then you'd watch a sketch and be like, okay.
It's no Chappelle show.
No.
Chappelle
was consistently. Chappelle was consistently every single sketch was really, really funny. And with Key and Peele, it was just like there'd be ones you'd be watching. It's like, oh,
Well, like I think the difference is honestly, I don't think they no less talented in sketch writing, but it it goes back to what I think about comedy in general these days. They're a little more safe, and when you're a little more safe, sometimes you tend not to be as funny. Dave Chappelle is dangerous, and he'll just swing for this. He'll just swing for the Spencer. Hey, let me make a whole episode where everything is gay. You'd be like, whoa, whoa, but you'll watch it.
One of my favorite Chappelle show sketches was the draft, where the race draft. Yeah. I don't think you can pull that off even today. It's weird. We were in a weird spot in kind of the mid 2000s or the early 2000s where stuff started being kind of a little bit looser, and then it tightened back up.
Then it course corrected, and but I mean, even Chappelle now can't put out a Netflix special without something the next,
Yeah.
Hey, look, but you know what though? It doesn't even matter because he won the Grammy for all that shit they say about his shit being problematic. They can eat a dick because he's more popular than ever. So all that sensitive bullshit go out the window. I think it's a comedian's job to be as dangerous as possible. That's my opinion. You should be able to talk reckless.
Yes.
Even in discomfort.
And this is certainly a dangerous movie for him. I mean, like I said, he's only known for sketch comedy to kind of branch out into something like this, talking about. And he layered this movie pretty well for a first-time, director, like we said, to put all the little layered things in this movie that you don't notice until second or third watch. It was really, really impressive.
My favorite is her eating the milk and the cereal.
Yeah.
Milk and the cereal.
Yeah.
For the record, I don't know any white people that do that. Just for the record, I don't know why.
I mean, it seems monstrous, not even because of the racial overtone, just from a practical reason. It seems monstrous. Like, you just don't do that. Why would you do that?
The brother, I thought, was a little out of place in this movie.
Yeah, what was his deal?
He was like just drunk from the start. He had like some kind of New Orleans twang to him, it seemed, for some reason, trying to fight people MMA style at dinner. Because it was like everyone else kind of played the role a little better.
MMA is about as white as you can get. Like, yep. That's like, you love MMA. He was like, no, dude, what? No. Watching this movie, I was thinking about Key and Peele, and like, I live in Atlanta. I don't know what town you live, but I live in a predominantly black city. I don't experience much racism, not on like a major level. But I'm thinking Key and Peele, since both of them are half white and they grew up in white neighborhoods around a lot of white people, they probably experienced some of the most fucked up shit ever just because they seem like
patronizing racism, you mean?
Yes, that. But like, I've been around you're not like the other black people. I've been around those white people. You know what I'm saying? So they feel comfortable saying shit in front of you that they would never say in front of another black person.
I could totally understand that. Like, I could totally see that. Just like saying these horribly racist things. Like, but we don't mean you. I mean, you're like one of us. I could totally see that, and then just how horrible that must be. So like,
I've experienced that. I've experienced that in my life.
I've
experienced that, going to elementary school, definitely in high school. I was like, what is this? You guys are saying this in front of me. Oh, we don't mean you, mean someone else. I'm like, and then even the principal, because I was upset about it, the principal was trying to, say, well, they don't see you that way. I'm like, that's no excuse. You're the fucking principal of the school. You should be reprimanding. But I was like, you know what? This is why I left the country. I said I need to get away from all this shit.
But like, you could see you could see the underpinnings of the anger there, like in the script. You can see, like, in everything he does, it's so purposeful. And like, I feel like it's something that only black people will get. Like at the end, right? Like at the end, like I see that with predominantly white audience. But every black person at the end, like, oh shit, in the movie theater, because we know this usually ends bad. Like, you see a cop car pull up and he's over a white woman, from my experience, that's more than enough. That's way more than enough. Like, they shoot us for less. So it was like, oh, then it ended up being his best friend. You just like, and that's, to me, the only horror moment in the whole movie.
Yeah.
That's the only scary part. Like, your heart skips a beat. when you see them blue and red lights, because you just don't know because you know what usually comes next in this. And this was going. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was gonna say it's interesting. I was thinking about the brother and how out of place he was, but I think the brother kind of represents that part of white culture that is so anti black culture, right? So a lot of the undertones of this movie was about cultural appropriation, right? The concept of becoming more in tune with black culture and by essentially taking over, right? And the brother was so anti that, right? And I think we use the MMA, example, but I think as out of place he represents that, like, I don't want any kind of black culture seeping in, but in the same sense, he was kidnapping these people to be part of the program, but I think he got more enjoyment out of just the fact that he's kidnapping people and he's getting to do his karate moves on them, So as out of place as he was, I do think he represented that other side of, the spectrum with that.
No, he definitely does. He definitely represents. He's the Republican. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like the George Bush, the Mike Pence. They go to Ivy League colleges, and then somehow get places of power, like dumb frat boys that get places of power. He's the Donald Trump of the movie.
You see, Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah, exactly.
Hideous looking. Seriously, I'm sorry.
He was all greasy. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, he like I said, he represented some kind of weird Southern vibe that just didn't, like, I think they weren't anywhere near the South that I remember.
I thought it was like upstate New York or something like that.
Yeah, so it just I'm not saying he didn't fit his character, but it's just his whole look and accent and everything just didn't fit with anything else going on in the movie.
Yeah, so I honestly have a controversial opinion. I don't think it's actually best movie worthy. I don't.
Mm-mm.
Like, I mean, I'm glad it's nominated, but like, I don't actually think, because I think there's so, like, they want to nominate a black movie, but there's so few of any type of caliber that they would even give us a chance with. What you gonna do? Nominate a Tyler Perry movie? So it was either this or a Tyler Perry movie. So that's what they went with. To go back. Go ahead, tell me.
Oh, well, and you know what? I think, with Black Panther coming out this week, it would not surprise me if Black Panther gets nominated for Best Picture for next year. It wouldn't surprise me. Because with the way they're going is like, well, we have to tick all the boxes. If we don't, then we're called racist, and then that's the end. Twitter will have uprising and blah 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 blah. So we have to tick all the boxes. So for me, I know this is probably the most unpopular decision, but for me, the best picture of 2017 was Blade Runner 2049. I loved everything about that movie.
No, that's not unpopular at all.
Great movie.
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve should have gotten Best Director, nomination. Really,
cinematography at least.
Yeah,
it got nominated for cinematography,
but it probably lose.
Yeah,
fucking Star Wars or whatever.
Hey.
Yeah, and that's a real crime right there.
There was some really, there was actually some really good cinematography in Get Out and some good filmmaking. I mean, I really enjoyed the whole thing where he's being hypnotized and he's falling into that space. Like, that was some really good filmmaking. And
oh yeah, that was great.
Again, like, I think to Tali's point is to a degree it's surprising, right? Because this guy from Keanu, and you know him from Key and Peele, and you don't realize it's like, okay, well, shit, dude can make a movie. So I'm actually interested to see what he does next. I hope he doesn't feel like he's pigeonholed into having to do something similar. I hope that he can branch out. It's tough because I understand Jamill's point too, right? Like, if 5%, maybe even less, of the movies that are put out every year are directed by a black man or a black woman, do they just, do the Oscars basically say, it's like, well, we have to pick one of them? It's kind of shitty in that way, because it's such a small amount, and it's this obligation of saying, it's like, well, we have to include one where it might not be among the 9 best films that come out that year. Not to say that I disagree with Jamill, but of the movies that I've seen, this is one of the better ones.
I like this better than The Post.
I thought this was better than The Post. Yeah, I agree. I thought this was better than The Post. Yeah.
So I'd have it like 7th at this point if I was ranking them.
Jamill froze again. Hopefully he can.
Down freeze.
He's in the sunken place.
We can hear you, Jamill, and the look on your face. You're giving me such a look right now. You're like,
it's like
Dan, stop.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is how my face works.
Jamill just had a stroke.
Yeah, but like I do like to go back to Chappelle, and the correlation between this movie is that danger of white liberalism, and that's no offense, because I'm a liberal, but like it is that danger of like sometimes your biggest enemy are the people that are claiming to be your allies. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that with Chappelle, this past year, where like everybody was happy for him to come back, but as soon as he tells some jokes that people don't like, it's mostly white liberals getting upset.
Yeah.
Then the groups that he's. There's more white liberals getting upset than like the actual groups he's talking about, and I think this movie speaks to that, because like everybody wants to be his friend, everybody voted for Obama, but in the end they just want to take him out. They just want to take him out. They just want to use him. They want to use his black body. They usher him off like a slave, and in the end, Cotton saves him. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, that was a little perfect little twist, I thought.
I hope Jamil's video comes back, because now it's just this twirling kind of fucking spiral on the screen. I like the frozen picture better.
We need to have like standby photos to
I do, just to kind of swap in, right? I don't have much I can swap in right now. Like, I have the picture of there.
Oh, there he goes.
All right, I was about to say,
okay.
I have the picture from the movie.
Oh no!
I'm not gonna swap that in. All right, Get Out. That is our synopsis of Get Out. Marty, what are we doing now?
Well, we're gonna Black Panther, like we said, is coming out on Thursday or Wednesday night, wherever city you might live in. I think it premiered 2 weeks ago already. And there's a lot of talk about this being the first black superhero movie, the first black superhero, and well, it's kind of true, and it's the first superhero movie solely dedicated to
come on, Blank Man. Come on,
cast.
Blade, yeah.
There are a lot of other instances, and I thought we'd go over some more comical.
Let's not, because they're all terrible. But Blade,
Meteor Man. What was that? Isn't that
Meteor
one?
Man? I thought was very good,
Meteor
and
Man?
Blank Man.
I love Meteor Man.
Meteor Man's funny.
I forgot all about that one. What is that?
But I was 9, so like
right.
I have no taste at 9. You know what I'm saying?
Blank Man, of course.
Blank Man.
What? I don't
Blank Man.
Damon Wayans from
Damon Wayans.
Yeah.
spin off from A Living Color. Like, so.
I just skipped those.
One that we
did
just.
Homie the Clown ever get a movie? No, right? If this was SNL, if this is Saturday Night Live, Homie the Clown gets a movie, right? Just.
Not a movie, but in the Marvel universe, we have Luke Cage on Netflix.
Yeah.
You're forgetting one. You're forgetting the major one.
Oh no, I'm going through a list here.
Okay.
Blade, of course. Wesley Snipes is kind of the forgotten man in all respects for the most part. Since his tax evasion, he's kind of just been sent to the scrap heaps of Expendables movies.
Is Blade
a superhero?
The savior? No, is Blade the savior of superhero movies? Is that movie the reason we have so much? Because I think we give a lot of credit to Batman Begins. I think we give so much credit to Batman Begins, but I think Blade.
I think Spider-Man came before that.
No, Blade came out 98 or 99, right?
Yeah.
98?
98.
Yeah. Spider-Man was after that.
It was 2000, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, Blade, I never heard of Blade when it first came out. I was like, what's this? And I was like, when I first, like the first 10 minutes, especially when the cops shoot at him and he goes, "What the hell is wrong with you? Are you out of your damn mind?" I was like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest movie. I'm in. I'm all the way in."
But
I think Blade gets forgotten a little bit because it's more of a vampire movie. Some people consider
Yeah.
it than
yeah. Like if you don't see that, like if you miss that Marvel thing at the beginning, you wouldn't even know it's a comic book movie.
Yeah.
But I do think Blade does deserve some credit. But to me, it's Blade, the first X-Men movie, and the first Spider-Man movie. Those three movies together kind of like saves the superhero genre. It kind of make it what it is today. In a lot of ways.
It made it say, hey, we can take this serious now. We can start getting real actors. And people forget, I guess, you mentioned X-Men Storm. People don't recognize Storm, Halle Berry, as a black superhero.
What about Catwoman?
Catwoman, starring role. That was her movie.
Well, it's funny because we were talking about a couple weeks ago when Amanda was on the DC Marvel crossover, and Halle Berry's one of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catwoman to Storm. Yeah.
Are we counting Nick Fury as a superhero?
He deals with a lot of superheroes.
Yeah. So I mean, we have two other black superheroes in the universe already, and
Falcon. Right.
Falcon and War Machine. War Machine's been in, I think, 4 movies at this point.
You know, you forgot about Steel. I was just waiting for you to name Steel.
Steel.
Who? Steel?
Shaq.
Yeah.
Shaq.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Woo! Judd Nelson, that's the villain. Oh man, that's
Judd Nelson was. I haven't seen any of these. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him.
If DC had his shit together, they might have had a Cyborg movie out by now. That would have been. They could have had the first black superhero movie. Yeah. So that was the main. That was the major list, I would say. Like I said, like some of them were comical, some were just parts of other movies.
And one is just good. There's only one of those are good, like on their own, and that's Blade. You know, like the rest of them are terrible. But this also speaks to the fact that there's not a lot of black superheroes to begin with. I could tell you now, I didn't give a fuck about Black Panther growing up. Nobody I knew gave a fuck about Black Panther. But it's great that he get his own movie and his own shine. But like care. Like the most prominent black superheroes before this Renaissance was all X-Men characters. Storm, Bishop, people like that. You know, no one cared about Falcon. You know, they just didn't. Really, Captain America's sidekick, he wore like this gay stripper outfit, and he talked to a bird. You know, just
with all that, is there too much like expectations on this movie right now?
Yes. I mean, look, I've been getting a lot of crap online because I'm just trying to tell people that it's just a movie. It's not a movement. This is not helping civil rights. It's just a movie. Like, and I'm not saying that to degrade the movie, but I do think it's too much pressure. Like Wonder Woman, like all the articles that came after Wonder Woman came out. Is it too feminist? Is it not feminist enough? And all that shit. It bogs the movie down. It bogs what is ultimately just an enjoyable movie. Like you just put all this pressure on it. Don't do that. Just the most revolutionary thing as a black person you can do. Just go see the movie and think it's good. This is not a movement. This is not anything that had to do with civil rights. It's ultimately just Iron Man 18. Ultimately, that's all it is.
Iron Man 18.
And I think it'll be fantastic. I think it'll be good. But it's not going to change any black people's lives once it's over with. It's not. It's just not.
Because it's kind of sad that we're going to make a big deal over the fact that a movie that is 99% cast with black people as a
and Martin Freeman.
And Martin Freeman and
Andy
Gollum.
Serkis.
Yeah. But 99, like we're making a big deal that a movie that is 99% starring black people is going to be a blockbuster, and the fact that we're making that big of a deal is fucking sad to me, because it's 2018. Like, how has this not happened sooner? Like, how has this not happened sooner?
Oh, that's simple. You know? That's easy. That's easy.
Jamil's less surprised than us.
Yeah, like y'all. Just like Donald Trump went, I'm like, yeah, of course he won. Have you not been in this country? But no, it's less like, look, black people technically only been free in this country like 52 years. It takes time, and we're now literally.
Jamill, we're still not
froze
free.
again. He's
Just get to the point. Well, you know, this is completely acceptable.
Yeah.
We're still not free.
Speaking back to like the white guilt you mentioned before, the white liberal guilt, is this movie kind of critic proof? Right now it's at 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, look, the movie can be terrible. I'm never gonna say it's terrible. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, I'm biased as shit. You gonna have me on next week? I'm gonna lie my ass off. Look, I seen DC fanboys lie for years about how good those DC movies are. I can lie about Black Panther. I'm joking, of course. I would be impartial.
I looked at today. There are 3 rotten reviews on the Rotten Tomatoes. 2 are from Australia and 1 is from Ireland.
Australia,
Well,
yeah.
I mean-
I used to, still Australia.
Listen, you know, I'm typically not a fan of these Marvel movies or superhero movies. I gotta say, like, I'm looking forward to this one just from the sci-fi elements. Like, it looks like a cool science fiction movie, and I liked Thor, even though it wasn't a Thor movie. I liked Thor as a science fiction movie, and you know. Well, it wasn't. I mean, Synergy. Go see our Thor review when we talked about Thor. It's not a Thor movie, but it was a fun science fiction movie to me. And seeing like the sci-fi elements of this, and knowing that it has to be sci-fi because it's going to tie into Infinity Wars. Yeah, I'm interested in that capacity, but like I don't know what my expectations are. It's a superhero movie. Those are my expectations. It's a superhero movie. It's a Marvel movie. Like, what am I gonna say?
Look, I sound harsh, but I do get it though. I mean, these superhero movies have a tendency to look like Klan rallies. So it's nice to see a movie full of black faces with the full might of Disney behind it. You know, it's a great thing to see. You know, but so I get it. I understand why people are excited. It just I don't want this to be a thing, you know what I'm saying? Because what happened in the movie isn't that great, you know what I'm saying? What happened if it's bums? Which I don't think none of these things would happen, right? Now you put all your hopes and dreams into this fucking movie. Don't do that. Just don't. Just enjoy it for what it is. And for all intents and purposes, it looks it's going to be good, but like I said, I just think it's too much pressure. Just like Wonder Woman, all the talk around it get bogged down. You know, 8 dudes on Twitter say they hate women, then all of a sudden that becomes the story. You know what I'm saying? But it's only 8 dudes on Twitter. Same thing with this, right? It's going to be like they going to find like the 4 tweets of 4 random white dudes that say, you know, well, why is this movie so black? And there's going to be 10 articles about those 4 tweets. And like I just
right. You're gonna have a tweet basically saying it's like, well, why can't we have an all-white superhero movie? And then the internet will just break at that point, right? And then the internet just breaks when someone says that, you know.
But that's the thing though. There was only be 4 tweets, but then that becomes the narrative. Just like fucking Force Awakens with the Black Stormtrooper, like 2 dudes said
that's
something.
What I was about to say that when the Force Awakens came out and they saw John Boyega, it was all this is white genocide. I'm like, what? One person. One person.
One person said something, and they wrote all those articles.
And if we know history quite well, and we know anything about the Vietnam War, we kind of know what happened with sending black people off to war. So I'm just saying, you'd think that stormtroopers, there'd probably be a lot of black people stormtroopers. The Empire's like, let's just, you know, let's just. So I don't know why there's such surprise that there was a black stormtrooper.
Yeah, it should be more of them, but yeah, it just like I said, I just want this to be a good movie. I don't want this to be like you saying like, oh yeah, like you know, we taking 30,000 kids to go see it for free and shit. Like really, like fucking really, like
those kids
cool.
they don't want to see Ant-Man. You can bring them to that too.
Oh no, don't get me wrong, it's cool. If I was a kid,
I can't believe they're making another one of those.
Anyone wants to see Ant-Man, except for Amanda.
I can't
She
believe
likes Paul Rudd.
What do we
Really?
think?
Oh, he's the
this
same
has
guy in every movie. Sorry.
This has the 4-day President's Day weekend. What do we think it'll make? Because right now it's saying it'll break every Marvel record.
It's gonna be
about 150
Pre-sales.
I think it's gonna be huge. Yeah, I think. I mean, for a February film, I mean, it's going up against Deadpool, right? I mean, that's from 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's got nothing. I mean, it's gonna run up against Wrinkle in Time in a few weeks, but I mean, as far as this weekend, there's nothing going against it.
which is also made by Disney because Disney just runs the world now.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's Black History Month, so you know you got to figure that'll play into it, right?
And most people have a 3-day weekend.
That wasn't an accident.
No,
released in February.
That was a little too obvious,
You
to be
know.
quite honest.
But no, that's the whole thing, though. Is like February is becoming one of those months where you release the blockbuster superhero movies now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's moving forward. You're going to see that happen in February.
That's what's the weird thing about the
Not
Oscars. Are
releasing
still,
Ant-Man in February.
the Oscars are still like 2 weeks away, and it's. I think the Oscars were always around this time because there wasn't any good movies for a while, and now it's like the Oscars are already out of date because we got new movies to talk about already.
Yeah. Robert Mayle is asking, has box office performance of superhero movies dwindled in the last decade? No.
No, I mean
it's the only thing that
sequels make
money.
a little less. But if you look at the top 5 of this year, 3 of them I think were.
Yeah, I mean look at Guardians of the Galaxy. That the first one was huge. It made huge numbers. Spider-Man was huge last year. Wonder Woman was huge.
Wonder
last
Woman.
year.
Yeah. Actually, movie we never talked about, but Jumanji turned out to be in the 5th highest movie of 2017.
Well,
Which one? Oh,
Rock,
that
man.
one?
It's The Rock.
Yeah.
You can't bet against The Rock.
Yeah.
You can't. Like we talked about this before. If we like a fantasy draft of entertainment, like The Rock is a #1 pick. Like The Rock is a #1 pick. You can't bet against this dude when it comes to the box office.
Yeah. Now he's got another movie coming out looking like Die Hard.
Rampage, right?
2 of them.
No.
Oh no,
He's got
Rampage.
and
Skyscraper.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for Rampage. Like I'm excited for that one. That was stupid and fun. Oh man,
It's just got to have naked people running around covering up their private parts, sidling away. If it doesn't have that, then it's a failure of a movie.
So that just to answer this question, the top 10 movies last year, 5 were superhero movies, and number 1 was that. One was that absolute failure of Star Wars because that was just awful. Apparently, making 6.6 billion is a failure. Is this a million? 616 million. Sorry, that's
6.6
billion.
billion.
A failure
That's a little bit. That would be the biggest movie of all time, right? I mean,
yeah.
6.6.
But China. My question is, how well is this movie gonna do in China? Because China don't like black people, so I'm curious.
But it's also kind of a spectacle of a movie, so those usually do well.
Yeah, but if it's sci-fi, again, like sci-fi does not play well in China, especially if it's a little too complicated.
No.
Look at Star Wars.
This one will be a little
Star
complicated,
Wars,
I think.
Star Wars didn't do well there. You know what I'm saying? And
no, it's in China.
Any
movie
part
with
of
a message.
Yeah, I mean,
this will be an anti-government message too. Again, I think from what I'm hearing, so that those also don't go well in China.
That's why Transformer movies do so good because they're so terrible. You just look at the pretty pictures.
There's no plot. There's nothing to follow.
Transformers and Fast and Furious are what do well in China these days.
I'm interested in watching the last night or whatever this last one was, just because I don't know what the fuck it's about. It's like there's knights, there's fucking what is going on here? Like the last Transformers movie. Like, I haven't seen any of the Transformers movies. I think in total I might have seen like a minute of Transformers movies while flipping through the channel, and it was one of the Shia LaBeouf ones.
The first one is good. Like the first one has a novelty to it, just because it's cool to see giant robots on screen for the first time, rendered like that. But then after that, it's just the second one.
Shia LaBeouf.
Jamill, I fell asleep on the first one.
Then they got Wahlberg.
20 minutes in, I'm snoring. My boyfriend's like, "Wake up! What are you doing?" I'm like, "You're gonna miss the best part." I'm like, "What? No, I'm going back to sleep."
The best part.
It was short. It was like an hour and 45 minutes long. It got to the point.
Oh, now they're like 2:45. Yeah.
Yeah, now everyone is like 3 hours long. It's nuts, man. Apparently he's supposed to be making a comic book movie. He's supposed to be making Lobo.
Yeah.
That's the rumor.
Michael Bay?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of bad DC news this week.
Oh no, that's perfect. What you talking about? A shitty 90s character? Yeah, give it to Michael Bay. Like Lobo is right up his alley. Like somebody with like a crude sense of humor and explosions. That's Lobo.
The problem is they've already cast the perfect Lobo as Aquaman, and that's the fucking problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem, you know.
And the second perfect one is Shazam. So you
not
just
Black Adam, whoever.
No, Black
The Rock
Adam.
is
Yeah,
gonna
Black
be. Right.
Adam. My bad. Yeah, Black Adam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of those two would have been the perfect Lobo, and you know. Now, I don't know.
Well, you get what's
Matt
his
Damon,
name?
right?
Oh Lord.
You get Josh Brolin. He needs a third movie.
Hey, Abe is in the chat.
Hey,
Abe is still alive, Jamill. There you go. Abe is still alive.
You
Says
were
Michael Bay's
you were
Lobo
called
is going to be
progressive.
awesome. Abe, who is insulting me? No one's insulting you.
Well, someone called him progressive earlier.
Oh.
Yeah. Abe, I called you
Yes.
progressive. I
Fair
called you
point.
progressive.
That's a fair
Progressive.
point. Yeah.
The ultimate.
Because you had me on the show. You had me and another girl on the show at the same time.
Well, I mean, you know, that's Abe's whole thing about having to be surrounded by women, you know. It's just a sexual fantasy of his, so.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. Yes, and yes, Michael Fassbender is supposedly doing a feature-length Kung Fury movie.
Michael Fassbender doesn't like going home.
No.
He'll just do whatever. Throw a franchise at him. He'll just take it. He don't care.
But does he like going home? He lives in London. He doesn't like going to London.
No, just give him an alien movie, give him a X-Men movie, give him a video game movie. He'll do them all. He don't care. Some of them flop, some of them do well. It doesn't matter.
Well, but
He
you
needs
know
to do
what?
another movie with Steve McQueen.
He'll do one. Just send it to him.
I don't need to see no more Michael Fassbender penis, so no thank you. I don't need to see
Hey, I wouldn't mind seeing more of that. Shut up. The world doesn't revolve around vagina and tits. I like to see Michael Fassbender's penis.
Well,
And Tom Hiddleston. Let's see it all.
that twink. No, I'm just playing. I'm just
Twink?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am so
That's
sorry.
it.
I don't know where that came from.
We're done.
And I like Tom Hiddleston. I like Tom Hiddleston.
I didn't say
so-
anything
He's a really
inappropriate
good
things
dancer.
today. I'm gonna put that on record.
Well, we didn't have Jack on. If we had Jack on, then you would have said something
Oh.
highly offensive, Marty.
No, I would have said
Marty,
I
where is
don't
Jack?
find Dave Chappelle that funny, and then he was going to offer me for 20 minutes.
Well, I mean, that is a wrong ass opinion, and you are like a man on the island by yourself on that.
I
one.
didn't. No, I just said he wasn't as big as a stand-up before Chappelle show. Then I thought then Jack persisted. I think that was my point. And then I got
I don't know. But no, you're right. He wasn't that. Well, no, Killing Me Softly kind of made him bad then. But no, generally you're right. But yeah, just you gotta be careful, man. I told you, man. Everybody was like hating on him at the time, and Jack was just, you know, he was on the pulse of that, talking about Dave Chappelle jokes are problematic. Like, y'all shut the hell up. He picking on Bruce Jenner. Like, yeah, better leave him alone.
That's right, Abe. Dave Chappelle's a young and up-and-comer. That's right. One of these days, he'll get his big break.
Yeah.
He looks better now than he did before, so God bless him. Been juicing.
Well, 40 million would do that to you.
60 million. He got 60. Chris got 40.
60.
He got 60. Yeah.
Okay.
And then who got upset about that?
You know, he has fucked you, man.
Monique.
Monique got upset about that one.
Yeah.
I won't talk about that because I've been.
Let's talk
again.
about it. Let's talk about it.
Look, I got called all type of names by black people for not defending Monique. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, no, she's not. She lucky she was worth the $500,000 that they offered. Call her the most decorated comedian alive. Get the fuck out of here. That's Whoopi Goldberg. Like, look, God, you don't got me on this right now. Look, you can't scream race and gender discrimination when last year they gave Chris Rock 40, Dave 60, and they gave Shonda Rhimes, who's black and a woman, $100 million. You can't scream that. Maybe you're just not worth that much. Maybe, as those people. Do you talk about Amy Schumer? No, look, I don't find Amy Schumer that funny either. But sold out shows, a hit movie, you know, all that. Yes, she gets 11 million. Where the fuck have you been for 10 years? Where the fuck have you been? You was never that funny to begin with. Even at her height, she was only ever black famous until she did Precious. I don't give a fuck about Monique. Then she won an Oscar. So yes, they should give me millions for my comedy special because of my Oscar. But your Oscar not even for comedy. You play like a fucking you threw a TV at a real child. Like the hell? Why would they give you money for that? Why? You know what I'm saying? You ain't went on tour. You ain't sold out shit. You ain't got no job. What the fuck?
Gentlemen, this is the best episode.
This is it. No,
of
honestly,
movies and stuff.
I was about to end the episode 3 minutes ago. I'm glad I didn't. After the Hiddleston comment, I thought we were done, but Jamill has redeemed himself. I'm going to remove just this clip, and this is going to be Jamill's clip reel from this point forward.
Jamill went full Martin Lawrence on it.
Jamill won.
Good.
Jamil won. Yeah.
Dan, your thoughts on Monique?
My thoughts on Monique. Her show wasn't as good as Martin, right? I mean, Martin was a good show. Monique was not.
It was a spinoff of a UPN show. Yeah, it was a spinoff. It was a lesser spinoff of a better show, which the better show wasn't even that good to begin with. So what the hell, man? Like, what the fuck? God. Queens of Comedy.
If Netflix wants to hire me, I won't bite the hand that feeds me.
You give me $500,000. You give me $500 right now. I'll sell the fuck out. Shit, Dad needs a new house.
New house.
Oh God. All right. Let's gonna close out another episode of the Movies and Stuff show. Please like this video, subscribe to us, follow us on Facebook and on Twitter at Movie Stuff Show. Marty's gonna put some videos over us. We're gonna totally just cut out that one clip of Jamill and just post it as a separate video, and that's gonna be Jamill's just #1 clip of all time. We're gonna be back next week. We're gonna talk about Black Panther. I'm sure Jamill's joining us next week. Right.
Yeah. I gotta feel your check mark, you know, your quotes. You know, I don't mind being a token black guy. That's fine. You know, I'm a fame whore, so it's good.
Listen,
you know,
listen, we're gonna have you on for like the whitest show ever. Like honestly, we're gonna find the whitest movie ever, and we're gonna have you on.
You should have had me on from the Phantom Thread. I was waiting for the
I was thinking about that. Yeah,
and that's a white ass movie. Like
we're gonna have you on for. We're gonna do a rewind of Steel Magnolias, and you're gonna come on, and we're gonna talk about it.
Oh.
Look, I don't want to go to sleep. No, I'll just...
All right, Jamill, you find a white movie you want to talk about? We'll have you on.
I mean, that's 95% of the other movies that y'all review. So just pick.
It's a fair point. Just every other movie except for this one. Yeah.
Give me a week in advance because sometimes y'all like to do art house movies and I have to drive far to see those. You know what I'm saying? So just give me a week in advance so I can go find it in my state.
Or we'll find a good VOD with Nick Cage. You can do a Nick
Cage
VOD.
He always has one.
Since 2 episodes ago, he's put out 17 new movies. So there's always going to be a Nick Cage VOD that we can watch and review.
So the power of Nick Cage to me is that he can do all these shitty movies, but then at least once every couple of years, he reminds you that he's a great actor.
I told you. I mentioned it in the last episode where we were talking about this. Nick Cage is going to get another Oscar. Somehow he's going to still, because he's right. Like every so often I was saying Snowden. He's got this brief, small role in Snowden. I was like, man, Nick Cage is a good actor. Damn it. You know?
Then he do 8 movies where he got a bad hairpiece.
Yeah, right. I'm still waiting for the Face Off sequel. Right, I mean, how have we not had a Face Off sequel?
Face On.
I want the Face Off prequel.
Oh, even better. Yeah, where they just digitally unage them. Yeah,
we got that software now.
So Abe is saying, Sound of Music or Rushmore. You're gonna do episode
Rushmore.
with us, Jamill.
I love Rushmore. I love Rushmore. Or anything Gus Van. Yeah, Gus Van Sant movies are pretty white. I love them, but they are pretty damn white.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure out a white movie. Jamill's gonna come.
Anything by Woody Allen.
Shit, I love Woody Allen. Yeah. I'm sorry. Look. Okay, one more thing. I'm black, right? You gotta understand something. I'm black. And because of that, I think like, and I love old movies. But cause I watch TCM all the time, right? But to be black in this country, you just kind of accept those things that all those people back then was racist. Like I love Cary Grant. I just as soon they said cut, he just said nigga all the time, and I'm okay with that. I've made peace with that. That a lot of the things that I like are the people were probably racist. So yeah, I can still watch Woody Allen. I can separate those two things because I had to do it my whole life. Look, I love Back to the Future too. That's one of my favorite movies. But when they go to the darkest timeline, the way they show that it's the darkest timeline is black people living in Marty's house with bars on it. That's fucked up. That is so fucked up. But I still love that movie because I can separate those two things. But that's fucked up if you look at it. Okay.
God, we have to have Jamill on more often. I realize it's been since like December. Like when I messaged Jamill, I'm like, holy shit, it's been almost 2 months since we had Jamill on. So, Jamill, we have to have you on more often. Talia, always a pleasure. Thank you all. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone in the chat. We will see you next week.
I want to be back next week.
All right, you're gonna be back next week. We might have a big. Maybe we'll have 5 on because we might have Nick, right? Nick wanted to be on too, so maybe we'll have 5. So
wants to share his blackness as well.
Well,
oh boy, we should review a Tom Hiddleston movie. I know a good one, High Rise.
Does it have his penis in it?
Well,
High
he does
Rise?
have sex.
I mean...
Yeah, he does have sex in it, and it shows. Yeah, he sunbathes naked. Yeah.
There you go, Jamill. That's all Jamill then. He's ready. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.